Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about subcontracting in Dynamics Nav or Business Central. So we use subcontracting for the production operations that you need to outsource to other vendors to help you to work on it. And after they finish that operation, then they will send the product back to you. So in Dynamics Nav or Business Central, you can set up a work center and then use the subcontracting worksheet to generate a purchase order for that manufacturing step. And what you need to set up on the work center is the unit cost calculation. So this unit cost calculation, you have to select the units instead of the time, because for the regular work centers, you calculate the overhead, the labors based on the capacity, based on how much time they spend. But for the subcontracting, you calculate based on how many units, like the vendor help you to produce this product, how many units of the product the vendor help you to produce. You get charged by the labor for the number of units they help you to produce. So then you have to select a specific unit cost, because this is not calculating by time anymore, it's calculating by the units. And then you have to enter the subcontract number as the vendor number, and also have to fill in the general product posting group. So when you use the subcontracting worksheet to generate a purchase order, this general product posting group from the work center will be populated on the purchase line. And you also need to fill in the shop calendar code. So this is just because when you add a routing step with this operation, with this work center as an operation step, it just need a shop calendar code there. It doesn't matter what shop calendar code you have there. If you have as a 24/7, then it will be great. But if you don't, like if it's a one shift 8 hours, then it's still okay, because we're not going to use that to control the lead time for the subcontracting. We're going to set up the wait time on the routing to control the lead, to calculate the lead time. So that comes to the routing. On the routing you set up, then you have to set up so I'm using this bicycle. You could see on the operation number 20, I set up the subcontracting. And you don't need to set up the setup time, runtime, because this is not manufactured by you. You are outsourced to the other vendor to help you to work on that routing step. So you can set up the wait time, and then we're gonna use this wait time to calculate the lead time your vendor need to work on those components you send to them. So then you have to set up the wait time unit measure. So in this case, I'm setting up like 7 days as a lead time for this vendor to produce to work on that operation step for you. Okay, so after you set this up, and I want to show you a most complicated scenario, which is on this location card of your manufacturing facility. So you have all the advanced warehousing feature enabled. You are using directed put away and pick. And you have the require receive, you have the require put away turned on. So when you have a PO, then you have to generate the warehouse receipt and the warehouse put away document. But because we are using the subcontracting is not receiving the inventory item. So what you received on the subcontracting PO is actually the labor cost, like the vendor has you outsourced to charge it to it's a labor cost. They have to work on that product. It's not like you are not receiving the inventory item for the PO, but actually you are receiving the product back. But what you are paying the vendor is like the labor they spend on that routing step. Okay, so then we created an item, and also there's some complexity for this item as well, because I have the item tracking turned on this item. So I created a subcontracting item, and if you take a look, this item is with a replenishment system production order, and it's a make to stock. And also it has the item tracking. If you expand the item tracking, you could see I have the item tracking turned on and it's using a lot number. If you look at this item tracking code, then you could see for this item tracking code, I have like lot warehouse tracking. I have all these enabled for the lot. Okay, for inbound, for both inbound and outbound, for both inbound and outbound. Okay, so then we can create we start from creating a production order. So we are gonna create a released production order for that location for this item. Okay, so we're gonna go to the release production orders and then create a new production order and put in this subcontracting item, and we want to produce 10 of this subcontracting item. And we're going to select that location under the posting first tab. Then you can select that location test, and we can refresh the production order. So we have the lines, routings, component need. We have all those turned on. And then we could see on the routing, so we have this routing steps here for the subcontracting. Because you have that, and then you can use the subcontracting worksheet to generate the purchase order for this. Okay, so in this video, I'm not talking about when you do the subcontracting, because you have to send the components. You have to send the components to the vendors as well. I'm not tracking that. You can have separate steps to track that shipment for the components you send to the vendor. I'm going to put in this production order and then calculate this subcontracting worksheet. So then you could see I have this line generated for this production order, and for this work center, this routing step, and the description is subcontracting, and it's for 10. And it's automatically using that vendor because that's the vendor we set up as a subcontractor number on the work center card. Then at this step, you can enter the cost, the unit cost, like the vendor quoted you to produce for each unit of the products. Let's say it's $20 for each piece, okay? And then if you like this, and you can just carry out the actions, it will generate a PO. And I have enabled print PO, so I'm gonna save that. Then you could see, take a look of how that PO looks like. So if I go to my desktop and then take a look of this PO, so we can take a look of this PO subcontracting. That's the one we saved, and you could see this is the PO we just generated, and for $20 for each unit. And it's with the purchase order number 106082. So if we go to our purchase orders now, then we could see we will have 106082. We have this purchase order generated for this location. And when you receive this PO, then you can receive and invoice this PO. Remember, this is a lot tracked item. But also on the location card, we have require receive and require put away turned on. But because we are only receiving the labor, so we don't really need to create a warehouse receipt and then create a put away from the warehouse receipt, because we are not receiving inventory item. We are just receiving the labor the vendor spent on this producing for finish this operation step, routing step. Okay, so that's just give it subcontract. I'm just gonna give it subcontract 1. Give it a invoice number because we want to post receive and invoice at the same time. So let's see if the system allow us to do this, because we have the advanced warehousing turned on. We have the require receive and the require put away turned on that location card. Also, we have the item tracking enabled on this item, on the subcontracting item. So will the system ask us to fill in item tracking? Or will the system ask us to create a warehouse receipt? Let's take a look to see if we are able to successfully receive an invoice for this subcontracting PO. Let's click on OK. So it doesn't because I have a specific setup on the purchase and the payable. I do not let the system automatically fill in the quantity to receive. So that's enter this for now. So you could see quantity to receive, quantity to invoice, both populated as 10 as the quantity on this. And another thing I want to mention is like some customers will always ask us, what is the description? So this description is populating from the work center card for that subcontracting. So because on that work center card and on that work center card, I give it a name as a subcontracting, that description will populate to the purchase line. Okay. So if you have a called something else, then that on the work center card, it will populate to this purchase line. So if you put an item number on that work center card for the subcontractor, then also you will see the item description here. But so it's better like you give it a good name so you understand this is not an inventory item, right? You don't confuse it with the inventory item description. So that's post and receive now. Then we should be able to see to post the invoice. You can see the invoice is posted. It doesn't ask us to enter an item tracking line, or it doesn't ask us to create a warehouse receipt or put away, because this is not an inventory item. If you navigate to the ledger entries on this, then you will see there's no item ledgers generated, right? So this is not a good example. I'm on the posted purchase invoice. I have to go to the posted purchase receipt to show you, because for the posted purchase receipt, then you can see, so the largest number here. So on the posted purchase receipt, you should see this is only capacity ledger entries generated. There's no item ledger entries generated. So that's why it doesn't ask you, even you have everything turned on, you on that location card. If we go back to the location card, then you can see we have all these turned on and directly put away and pick. Then we have all these bin. When we have the zones, we have the bins, we have all those configured. We have the bin content, all this configured. But it does not require you to have a warehouse receipt and create a put away from the warehouse receipt, because even this location has the advanced warehousing turned on, because we are only receiving the labor cost. If you go back to that production order, then you will see that routing steps status will be changed, and so that's sorted by the number. So this subcontracting will be over. So this one is the one we just created actually, because we have that item number called subcontracting, and then this is also the largest number there. And if you go to the routing, you could see this routing status change to in progress, right? Because we already received it, and after you finish all the other routing status, this component will be, all the components will be consumed, and then you will have the finished, you will have the finished quantity on the finished goods item after you finish the last routing step. Okay, so that's how it works. And also some customers will have question like because they also want to track, because for this subcontracting PO, you're only tracking like when you receive it, the labor from the charge for the labor from the vendor, and you also need to send the components to the vendor. So how that process is tracked. So yeah, that process is tracked separately in Nav. If you want to use the out-of-box features, what you can do, you can create another location, and the other location is only for that vendor. It's only for that vendor for this subcontracting. And you can create a transfer order, you can create a stock keeping unit and set up component allocation to that location of that vendor location. And then you can create a transfer order to track when you send the components to the vendor. So that's a separate process. And also some customer request, if you do not want to make it that complicated to create a transfer order, some customer may customize it and to create something on the purchase order to track the shipment you ship to the vendor for the components. So you can do that customization as well. Okay, so and also sometimes customers may have requests like even on the production order for that item, they have, for example, they have 10, but like when they send the components, they don't want to send the components all at once. It could because like it could be inventory issue or whatever issue. So they do need to create 10 for the finished good, but then they want to send it by different shipment to the vendor, and that the vendor produce by different send them back by different purchase receipt. So that's also doable. So what you can do after you generate the subcontracting worksheet, then you can change that quantity, right? So I have to create another one to show you, but let's create a new one. If we're using the subcontracting again. So then let's put 10 here as well, and we're gonna put the test location here. Okay, so gonna refresh this production order, and then now you're good to generate that subcontracting worksheet. So when you go to the subcontracting worksheet, and what you can do is like when you calculate that, this will calculate all of everything, right? So, but if you only have 2, you can ship to the vendor for them to do first, and then you have to ship the remaining 8 for them to them as a separate shipment. Then what you can do, you can modify that quantity and then create a PO for that first. Carry out. So this time I'm not gonna print the order. I'm just gonna go directly to the purchase order. So then for this purchase order created, it will only have quantity 2. And the next time you can use the subcontracting worksheet to create the remaining. So let's say this one will be, okay, so I have different number series in my purchase orders here. So I remember if I look at, just give me a second, let me look at this number, 106082. This will be 106083. So this one is that number series, okay? So we have this, you see on the line, it's only have quantity 2, but you can use the subcontracting worksheet to generate again, right? So you can generate another PO if later you have another 8 to ship to the vendor to produce, then you can do this for this again. But for here, and now is you have to generate another PO for that 8. Let's carry out this. Let's print this time so we can know what's the PO number for it. Okay, so then let's take a look. What's the PO number generated? It must be, so it combined it to that PO we just did, right? Because we are, okay, so the issue here, it combined it to this one. So you could see, so it just override the other 2 because we haven't do anything for this PO yet. Then we just redid it again. So in this scenario, what happened is usually like you ship the 2, you finish that 2, then because this is the same vendor, so if you do it for the same vendor again, you haven't done the receiving process, then it will just override that 2, right? So you can, let's say I'm gonna do this, then we can take a look what's gonna happen. You have to receive and then invoice this 8, and then you can do the remaining 2. So a quantity to receive, I'm just gonna put 8. Then after you did this step, then you generate again. So sub 2, okay. Then after you did this, then you generate again, then this is done, okay? Then it will generate the remaining 2, because right now on your released production orders, it will have 8 already produced, finished for that routing step, and then the routing step is still in progress, right? But if you go to your production journal, so this it does not require that, but actually because this is not the last step, this is not the last step of your routing. If it's the last step of the routing, you should have 8 finished already. But you will have 8 put into the inventory. But because this is not the last step of the routing, then you still need the other steps after that to finish to have that inventory generated. So, but what we can do now, if you go to the subcontracting worksheet again. Then you generate for that production order. This is when it will generate the remaining 2 for you. Okay, so still for this production order, let's see. Now it's just generate this remaining 2. Only after you receive receive the original PO for that original shipment, then when you generate again, it will generate another PO for the remaining quantity. And also you can combine the subcontracting worksheet if it's for the same vendor. If you have another bicycle which is for the same vendor and they just a little bit different routing step, but it still have the subcontracting operation steps there, then you can combine. So you can generate for another item, and it will generate 1 PO for the same vendor, but with 2 different purchase lines on it for 2 different items. Let's say this is another item 1000, then it will do that. Okay, if you have a production order for this item as well. Yeah, okay, so that's basically is for what I want to talk for subcontracting. And so there's many different solutions like you can do. It's not like everything you just have one way of doing it. And also subcontracting can be used for you to track other expenses as well. Like we have customers asking if they can track some like repair and maintenance cost with enough for production order. You can set up a work center to track those costs, and you can use subcontracting to track it. Even for some utilities, even for the utilities like electricity, water, heat, then you can set up a work center and the subcontracting, and you can track that cost that way by creating the using the subcontracting worksheet to create a PO or purchase invoice, right? Yeah, okay, so it's a very useful feature in Dynamics Nav or Business Central. So hope this video is helpful for you to understand how to use subcontracting in Dynamics Nav or Business Central. Thank you. Hope to see you guys again next time.